Here's a story that perfectly captures the clash between hardline immigration enforcement and environmental protection. And it's happening in one of America's most treasured ecosystems. A federal court has delivered a crushing blow to Florida's ambitious immigration detention plans, indefinitely stopping all expansion at the controversial facility nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz. But here's where it gets controversial. This decision doesn't just affect immigration policy. It highlights a fundamental question about whether states can bypass federal environmental laws in the name of border security. On Thursday, U.S. District Court Judge Kathleen Williams issued a sweeping injunction that effectively freezes growth at this makeshift immigration detention center situated in the heart of Florida's Everglades region. The ruling came after environmental advocacy groups and the Miccosukee tribe challenged the facility's operations, arguing that its expansion threatens one of America's most fragile ecosystems. The judge's decision represents a significant roadblock for Florida's Republican leadership, which has been aggressively supporting the Trump administration's tough on immigration stance. The state had gone so far as to deputize thousands of state police officers as federal immigration agents, transforming local law enforcement into immigration enforcers. But here's the part most people miss. While Judge Williams halted expansion plans, she didn't completely shut down Alligator Alcatraz. Current operations can continue using existing structures to house immigrants suspected of unauthorized presence in the United States. However, the facility cannot accept any additional detainees, effectively capping its capacity at current levels. The court order specifically prohibits several expansion activities. No new temporary structures can be erected. No ground excavation or paving projects may proceed, and no additional tents can be installed on the property. State and federal authorities have been given a 60-day deadline to remove temporary fencing, lighting equipment, and generators from the site. Interestingly, existing housing facilities can remain operational, and officials are permitted to conduct necessary safety repairs. In her written decision, Judge Williams made a particularly pointed observation about political promises versus environmental reality. She noted that for decades, every Florida governor, every Florida senator, and countless local and national political figures, including presidents, have publicly pledged their unequivocal support for the restoration, conservation, and protection of the Everglades. That her order, she emphasized, simply enforces the basic legal requirements designed to fulfill those long-standing commitments. This makeshift detention center, constructed on what was essentially an abandoned airfield, exemplifies a broader strategy by Republican-controlled states to assist federal immigration enforcement efforts. Similar partnerships have emerged in Indiana and Nebraska, where state officials have made their correctional facilities available for immigration detention purposes. And this is the part that sparks heated debate. The environmental lawsuit that triggered this ruling was brought by the Miccosukee tribe alongside environmental activists who argued that federal environmental impact assessments should have been completed before the facility became operational. The Everglades ecosystem supports numerous endangered species and serves as a critical freshwater source for millions of Floridians. The central legal controversy revolves around Florida officials' argument that Alligator Alcatraz doesn't fall under federal environmental regulations because it operates as a state-run facility. Meanwhile, the Trump administration has committed to reimbursing Florida's expenses using federal taxpayer funds, creating what critics argue is a convenient workaround for federal oversight requirements. This wasn't Judge Williams' first intervention in this case. Earlier in the month, she had implemented a temporary 2-week construction pause, but Thursday's ruling establishes an indefinite moratorium with much broader restrictions. Complicated matters further, a separate legal challenge is simultaneously playing out in federal court, focusing specifically on the constitutional rights of individuals detained at the Everglades facility. Earlier this week, U.S. District Judge Rodolfo Ruiz partially dismissed that lawsuit after the Trump administration established a dedicated immigration court to handle cases for Alligator Alcatraz detainees, addressing one of the primary concerns raised by civil rights advocates. However, Judge Ruiz allowed another portion of the case to continue, specifically regarding detainees' rights to private in-person consultations with their legal representatives. This ongoing litigation has been transferred to another federal judge for resolution. So here's the million-dollar question that nobody wants to address directly. Should environmental protection laws take precedence over immigration enforcement priorities, even when national security concerns are involved? And if states can circumvent federal environmental oversight by claiming operational independence, while simultaneously receiving federal funding, what does that mean for environmental protection nationwide? The Alligator Alcatraz controversy represents more than just a single detention facility. It's become a testing ground for how far states can go in supporting federal immigration enforcement without triggering federal oversight mechanisms. As this legal battle continues to unfold, it's raising fundamental questions about the balance between environmental stewardship and immigration enforcement that deserve serious public discussion. What do you think? Should environmental concerns outweigh immigration detention needs in sensitive ecosystems like the Everglades? Or should border security take priority even in protected areas? This case might set precedents that affect similar situations nationwide. And that's a conversation every American should be having.